Good morning, children. How are you all? I hope everyone's fine there. I want to tell you one thing. Some other people, when they work hard, also they may not get luck. Some people, when they do not work, also they get the luck. And sometimes they say that it is a fate. We don't know that is a fate, or will you believe or not believe? We don't know. But at the present story, which I am going to tell you, the brave porter. So he does one thing, he did one thing, and he got one thing. Luck he got it. Let us say that what luck he got it. That is the brave porter. The brave porter. Let us see about him. Just look at the book, everyone. Let us know about author. Marguerite Sheik was a great storyteller. Marguerite, his name is Marguerite Sheik, was a great storyteller, one who tells the stories. Okay, he was very much interested in telling folk and mythological stories of Asia. So here, he was very much interested in telling folk story. Folk means people stories, and mythological. Mythology means legendary stories of Asia. Yes, he traveled across many Asia countries. He traveled across many Asian countries and collected interesting short stories. He collected interesting short stories from various countries. Not one country, various countries. He traveled from various countries, and then he collected the short stories and published them in English. And he published in English. He translated many famous Indian folk stories. He translated many famous Indian folk means people stories into English. Other language, one language to other language. He translated to in English. The present short story, The Brave Porter, is a very popular Telugu one collected by him from India. So present story, which we are going to read, that one is a popular story. It is in Telugu. It was translated in English. Okay, and collected by him from India. It was collected from him only in India only. Let's see that. Look at your book, everyone. The Brave Porter. The Brave Porter. Porter means one who makes the pots. One who makes the pots. Yeah. Marguerite Sheik has chosen a very well-known Indian folk tale for telling in English. Yes, Margaret Sheik has chosen a very well-known Indian folk stories. Folk tale means English stories. Sorry, people story for retelling in English. Telling again in English, that one. Children and adults alike, which means same like, are fond of folk tales, people stories. Even children as well as adults, they like means the same. They are fond of folk tales means people stories, which are often amusing. Which are often amusing means surprising, and sometimes instructive also. Sometimes it tells about instructive. Instructive means it gives instructions what to do and not to do. Okay, convey the information or instructions. It conveys the information as well as instruction. Gives the instruction to each and every one. Let's go for the story. See here, a story. If you want to write the story, first of all you have to keep title. You have to keep the title, and then explain about the characters. Characters you have to write about that. After characters, you have to explain those people. Okay, then you can go for explanation of the story. Yes, it was dark. Thick black clouds covered the evening sky. So here it was very dark, and thick black clouds they covered the evening sky, especially maybe 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. It covered completely evening sky. The thunder roared. Thunder roared means sounded. Roared is means you see the tiger or lion, they roar, no? They shout, ah, like that, no? So roared means made sound. Thunder. Thunder means already, where before rain comes, it makes the sounds, tap, tap, tap sound, no? That is thunder. So the thunder roared, shouted, and the strong wind shook the branches. The strong wind shook the branches of the trees, and even the branches and leaves of the trees, even the leaves of the trees also shook it. Where it is? It is in the forest. It is in the forest. It gave a strong wind. It shook the branches as well as the leaves and the trees in the forest. So how the rain came? Pit pat pit. This is the sound when rain comes. It no, when it falls, it you can hear the sound. Pit pat pit. Drops of rain fell. Drops of rain fell in that forest. Then the lightning flashed and split the black sky with its blinding light. See here. Then the lightning flashed it. Lighting, no, see that when it comes the rain, it flashed like that, flashed it and split the black sky. Split means just to split it out with its blending light, sending the blending light towards the sky. You can see that. Soon it was raining heavily. After that, soon it was raining very heavily. An old tiger ran through the rain looking for shelter. An old tiger ran through the rain, looking for the shelter. It was looking for the shelter, and it wanted to take shelter and anywhere else because it was raining, so it wanted to take the rest. He was wet and cold. How the tiger was? He was wet and cold, and his cave was far away. His cave was far away. Cave means what we can say, gruha, no? In Telugu we can call gruha. So his cave was very far away. While hurrying to his shelter, to his house, he saw an old hut. Who saw that? The tiger saw an old hut. While he was hurrying to his shelter, he saw that an old hut. With a sigh of relief, it is somewhat you want to take as a relief. The tiger crawled under the thatched roof. So the tiger crawled. Crawl means like how the baby crawled. In the same manner, it crawled under the thatched roof. Thatched roof means here thatched. Thatched roof is nothing covered with dried straw. Dried straw. Maybe it is geddi, no? Paddy. After taking paddy, what it remained? That straws, no? So it was covered with the thatched roof. So there he crawled into the thatched roof. Who crawled into under the thatched roof? The tiger crawled under the thatched roof and lay down by the door. And lay down by the near to the door. And just he lay down on that near to the door. Except for the sound of the rain, all was quiet. Except for the sound of the rain, all was quiet in that forest. Before he could nod off means fall asleep. Nod off means fall asleep. Nod off means fall asleep. Nod off means fall before going to sleep. However, he heard something heavy being dragged inside the hut. So, however, what happened here? He heard something heavy being dragged inside the hut, and something he heard it, and in a rough manner, heavy manner, he heard the sound. What kind of sound? This was followed by the voice of woman. This was followed by the voice of a woman. So that was the voice of woman. So it heard it. Who heard that? The tiger heard it. Oh, the voice is saying, oh, how terrible this leak is. Oh, how terrible this leak is. Leak means what do you mean? Leak? Leak means hole or a crack. Leak. Leak means here a hole or a crack. You see, in the house there was a hole. In the house, in the thatched roof, there was a hole. That is a leak, we can call it. She complained. She means the woman complained. How terrible! I would rather meet a tiger in the forest than have this leak in my house. What that voice is saying, what the woman was saying that how terrible it is. I would rather meet a tiger in the forest than have the hole in my house. Who said these words? Who said these words? The woman said these words. Okay, so a leak immediately. Who is that? The tiger thought leak. A tiger thought. What is a leak? He didn't know that is a word. Something he thought it. A leak means something dangerous than him. He thought it. It must be very dangerous. Saying that it must be very dangerous and strong. Or a woman would not be more frightened of the leak. The woman is not more frightened of a leak than of me. Means it was saying that what it was imagining, what it was thinking that tiger was. It must be very dangerous and strong, or the woman would not be more frightened of the leak. The woman is not frightened of the leak than of me. Even for me also not frightening of me. She said no. Before going to have this leak, I would rather meet a tiger in the forest. Which means leak is more dangerous than the tiger. So that only the woman said that she wanted to meet the tiger in the forest before going to have the leak. Maybe this tiger thought that leak is more dangerous than the tiger. It thought it. Okay. Am I not right to call the king of the forest? He's asking question himself. Who is that? The tiger was asking himself. Am I not rightly called the king of the forest? Aren't they all afraid of me? Aren't all means all people not afraid of me? I wonder what a leak looks like. I wonder what a leak looks like. It was questioning itself. Who was questioning? The tiger was questioning itself. Soon afterwards, the tired tiger fell asleep. Soon afterwards, the tired tiger fell asleep in the thatched roof, under the thatched roof near to the door. He was suddenly awakened by angry voice shouting in his ear. What happened? He was suddenly woke up by an angry voice shouting in his ears. What he shouted? He felt heavy blows. Not in that, shouted in such a manner, and he felt heavy blows fall upon his head and shoulders. Heavy blows means he hit him on his shoulders as well as on his head. Someone bet him, and his voice was very angry voice. Okay, angry voice shouting in his ear. Whose ears? Tiger's ears. Shouting. Okay, and he felt heavy blows means he was beaten by heavy blows on his head and the shoulders. You horrible beast. See here, you horrible beast. Beast means animal. You horrible beast. A voice screamed angrily. A voice screamed and shouted very angrily. Okay, beast means animal. How dare you run away? Asking question. That voice is asking question. How dare you run away? How dare you make me walk about in the middle of the night trying to find you? What is that? How dare you? How dare you make me walk about in the middle of the night trying to find you? Be careful. One of these days I will kill you. Now go home. One of these days I will kill you. Said who said that? The voice said to the tiger. Yes, what the tiger did, let us see. That old tiger shivered. The old tiger shivered means so frightened in such a manner. This must be the leak who has come out of the hut. What the tiger thought it? This must be the leak, and who has come out of the hut. Out of the hut only it came. It is the leak. Who said these words? The tiger said. Still the tiger was thinking that what does this mean leak? It was thinking that it's more dangerous than the this. It thought it. Who thought that the tiger thought it? I would better do as he says, or he will kill me. So what he thought it? I would better to do as he says, whatever he says, or he will kill me. If I do not listen to him, he may kill him. You don't know whether who is someone is, what kind of creature is, but shouting at him in such a manner and beating him on his shoulders as well on his head. It was beating it, but it didn't know. But it was such a way. It was frightening. Who was frightening? The tiger was frightening, and it was thinking that even he did not know what to mean by leak. Leak means hole, but he did not know that it is more dangerous than this tiger. It thought it, and whatever the voice says, and it was listening to that voice. Who was listening? That the tiger was listening. So the tiger allowed himself to be bound around the neck. So the tiger allowed himself to be bound around the neck with a thick rope. See, you can see that how he was tied it around the neck of the tiger. He tied it. So the tiger allowed himself. The tiger only allowed himself to bound around the neck with a thick rope. He tied it. The mysterious creatures. Mysterious means unknown. Mysterious means unknown. Write it. Mysterious means unknown. Unknown creature then climbed onto the tiger's back. Unknown creatures then climbed onto the tiger's back and pulled at the rope. It. Okay, it climbed the back of the horse, back of this tiger, and pulled the rope. Come on, said, come on, head for home. He said that someone said, the creature said, come on, head for home. Head for means to keep your head for home. Shouted the voice. No, tiger didn't know who is that. The tiger felt a sharp kick on his side. The tiger felt a sharp kick on his side, on his backside. No, he kicked it. The tiger was terrified. Terrified means frightened in such a manner. And he ran through a dark forest. The tiger ran through the dark forest because it was night. It was running through the dark forest. The creature pulled hard on the rope to tell him which way to go. See here, the creature who sat on the back of the tiger pulled hard on the rope to tell him to showing the way, which way to go it, and showing that. Even see that when we bullock carts, when we go it, and by using the rope, we tell the way to go. In the same manner, the rope only telling him to go the way. At the same time, it's scolded. At the same time, it was scolded. The creature was scolded to this tiger. Cursed and kicked. Cursed means what is a sharpam, no? He was cursed and kicked the poor tiger. He was kicking to the poor tiger. Soon they stopped in front of a small hut on the edge of thick forest. Soon where they reached it, they stopped in front of a small hut that was on the edge of the thick forest. There they stopped it. The creatures climbed down from the tiger's back. The creatures now climbed down from the creature's back and bound him with an iron chain. He was bound with an iron chain to a nearby tree. Who bound the tiger? The creature bound the tiger nearby the tree. Then he went inside the hut. Then the creature went inside the hut. The tiger could not free himself. Why the tiger could not free himself? Because himself from the chain. Because he tied the chain. He tied around his neck and tied it, and then tied towards the tree, and he went inside the hut. So he had to spend a miserable night under the tree. He means here the tiger had to spend a miserable night under the tree. Who was this creature? Who was that creature? One who climbed on the back of the tiger? Nobody knows. Who was able to capture? Capture means catch. Who was able to catch this kind of such a large and dangerous tiger? Who was able to catch that? Capture that. Capture means to catch such a large and dangerous tiger. Let us find out now. Okay, let us see that. On the afternoon of the day, a porter had arrived home after a hard day's work. What happened here? On the afternoon of the day, a porter had arrived home after a hard day's work. After the hard day's work, he arrived it. So after afternoon, he worked it, porter, and he came home. He was tired and thirsty. After working, he was very tired, and as well as he was thirsty. He had asked his wife for some palm wine. Who was that? The porter asked his wife to give some palm wine. Palm wine means toddy. Toddy means white water. Kallu, you can say kallu, palm, which comes from the palm trees. That chettu. Okay, na? Yes. The more he drank, the better he felt it. The more he drank it, he better felt it. He got very strength. Even see that some of the people, no, like see that even you are very thin. Some of the people, what they do it, if they're drinking wine or anything else, alcohol, they get more strength. They may not frighten of anyone. And if they do not take that wine or they do not take the alcohol, they may not get the strength. They may not get courage also. Just imagine that. So don't go for that. Avoid those things. It is very dangerous to your health. Yes. So the more he drank, the better he felt it. Who felt that? Who is that? The porter felt. When he had drunk all the wine, had no longer felt tired. When he drank all the wine, he no longer felt tired. He got more strength. The way he drank it, the more he drank it, the more strength he got. Who got that? The porter got the strength. When the storm began, when the rain began, the porter suddenly remembered. When the rain began, the porter suddenly remembered that he had left his donkey tied under a tree. See here, what do you remember that he had left his donkey tied under a tree. He thought it. He rushed out of his house. Rushed means he went out of the hut, his hut, to take the animals to the stable. To take the animal to the stable. Stable means where the animals, where the horse lives it. The place, no, where the horse lives in the place. There he wanted to take it and he wanted to tie there in that place. But what happened? You can imagine his anger. Angry, no, anger means angry. When he discovered that the donkey was not there anymore. The donkey was not there anymore. He did not find the donkey in that tree, under the tree. He didn't, and you can imagine that if something you lose it. For example, you see, best example you can say that if I work hard and hard, if I come to house, if my missus is not there, how much I feel angry. In the same manner, this porter also felt very anger. Yes, discovered that donkey was not there anymore. The only thing left was its chain. The only thing what was left is only the chains were left on that tree. My stupid donkey must have run off into the forest. He grumbled. He grumbled himself. Gunagatam, no? My stupid donkey must have run off into the forest. He grumbled himself. When I catch him, I will give him a good beating. What he was saying? When I will catch him, then I give him a good beating, he said. Who said that? The porter said to himself. The porter walked to the wet forest. The porter walked through the wet forest. Means it was already it is wet because raining, no? It was raining. So when he was walked to the wet forest, when it became dark, he often stumbled over roots and fallen branches. What happened here? When it became dark, he often stumbled. Stumble means here clumsy walk. Stumble. Stumble means clumsy walks. clumsy walk, and you walk in a not proper manner. So when it became dark, he often stumbled. Stumble means so you clumsy, you walk in a clumsy manner over the roots, and he was fallen branches. And some see that sometimes when he walks it, suddenly he struck the branches of the trees and used to fall on that ground. With each step, the porter felt angrier and angrier with his donkey. Each step is walking, and whenever he falls on that, he was getting more angry and angrier with his donkey. When he was saying, "When I catch him, I will tie him up under the tree all night." He muttered to himself. What he muttered himself when he catches that donkey, he wanted to tie him up under the tree all night. He wanted to keep it like that. He wanted to keep it. Who wanted to? The porter wanted to keep it the donkey under a tree. Hours later, the porter reached the old woman's hut. Hours later, the porters reached the old woman's hut. Old woman's hut where that tiger took rest under the thatched roof. There he reached it. There he saw an animal sleeping in front of the door. There he saw that this animal, and what is that animal? The tiger animal. It was sleeping in front of the door. "There is he!" he shouted. Who shouted that? Porter shouted. "There is he! There is he! The stupid animal! The stupid animal!" he said. The drunken porter did not notice the difference between the donkey and the tiger. See here, the drunken porter now, he did not notice the difference between the tiger and donkey and the tiger. He did not notice it. So what he did? He kicked and bet the sleeping tiger. He kicked and bet that sleeping tiger. He then jumped onto the frightened animal's back. Then afterwards, then he jumped onto the frightened animal's back. Rode it home. Rode it home means just he tied the rope and that around his neck, and then rode it home, and means he ridden. He rode towards the home side, and then tied it up with the iron chain. After reaching the home, what he did? He tied it up with the iron chain. Who tied it? That porter only tied it. Next morning, the villagers who passed the porter's house looked in amazement at the tigers tied to the tree. What happened? The next morning, the villagers who was passed by porter's house, they looked in amazement. Amazement means in surprise manner. They looked it that tiger was tied to the tree. That they saw it. Who saw that? The villagers saw it. Soon the news spread throughout the village. Soon the news spread throughout the village. Just you can imagine that if something happens in the villages, the news spread within no seconds. It goes it very fast. Yes, in the same manner here also, the news spread throughout the village. The porter had caught a tiger and tied it to a tree in his hand. What the news that spread very fast? A village, throughout the village, that porters had caught tiger and tied it to the tree in his hand. Everyone knew that he did it. All the villagers praised his courage. All the villagers praised his courage. They also thanked him because the tiger had eaten many of their goats and the buffaloes. Here, they also thanked this porter. Why? Because tiger had eaten many of their goats, as not the goats and the buffaloes also. It ate it. For that reason, all the villagers they praised him. They had tried to catch him for many years. They means the villagers they tried to catch him for many years, but they had failed. But they had failed to catch the tiger. The porter said that he had done nothing of the sort. The porter said that had nothing done at the sort. At the moment he did not do it anything. He said that he had only brought his donkey home. He said that he had only brought his donkey home. He did not understand how a donkey could change into a tiger. He could not understand that how the donkey could change into tiger. When he saw a tiger, he fainted. When he saw the tiger, he fainted. Fainted means unconscious. He went for unconscious. Means he did not know what happened at the moment. Just if he was unconscious. Nobody, however, believed the Potter's story. Nobody, however, believed the Potter's stories. Nobody was believing that he was saying that he only brought the donkey, but they were not believing it. The villagers even praised him for being modest. Modest means not boasting about oneself. Okay, praise him for his being modest. Soon the potter became famous. Soon this potter became famous in that village. Everybody who met him called him the brave potter. Whoever met him, everyone saying that he was a brave potter. What is the opposite of brave? Timid. Timid opposite brave, courage. Okay. The simple potter himself never understood why. The simple potter himself never understood why these people are saying brave potter. He never understood. After a few years later, war broke out between the potter's country and much stronger neighbors. What happened? A few years later, war broke out between the potter's country and a much stronger neighbor. Yeah, few years later, what happened that a war broke between the potter's country as well as a much stronger neighbor's country. Okay, the king immediately gathered a large army. The king, what he did? Immediately he gathered a large army. But he realized that it was not stronger enough to save his country from defeat. But this king understood that, he realized means understood that it was not strong enough to save his country from defeat. Defeat means from that defeat is nothing but what we can say that defeat from that other country. So he was not to save his country from defeat. He did not understand. He needed a hero to lead his army. He needed a hero to lead his army. So where could he find such a brave man? Where could he find such a brave man? He was asked. He didn't know. The king hurriedly called his ministers together and asked their advice. Immediately, this king called the ministers together and asked the advice to advise their. He asked the advice to the ministers. Who asked that? The king asked the. Immediately, the king gathered the ministers and asked their advice. Whose advice? Ministers' advice. One of the ministers remembered the story of the brave potter. Here, one of the ministers remembered the story of the brave potter, and he told that. Who's that? One of the ministers heard this kind of story. Which story? That brave potter story. So immediately he told to the king, "Your Majesty," the minister said, "Your Majesty," the minister said, "I know someone who can lead our army. I know that someone who can lead our army." Who was that? Do you think that? Who is that? Brave potter. Brave potter. Yes. The king immediately sent a messenger to the potter's house. Immediately, as he knew that name of that person, Proteus, immediately he sent a messenger to the potter's house. When the potters realized that he had been made general of the army. Yes, when the potter realized, means understood that he had been made general of the army. He was in charge of the army, and means colonel. Became the colonel of the army. He became frightened. Who became frightened? The brave potter became frightened. Why he became frightened? The king had ordered him to go to the palace the next day. The king had ordered him to go to the palace the next day itself. Who said these words? The king said to the potter, "How could he, a poor ignorant potter, become the general of the army?" How could he, a poor ignorant means nothing knowing that poor potter became the general of the army? How he became the general of the army? He had never carried a sword. He had never carried a sword means katina. Never carried a sword, nor had he even ever ridden a horse. He did not drive a horse also. He did not drive a horse also. Never caught a sword, or he never ridden horse also. How can he became as a general of the army? Nobody knows. Oh, he was saying, oh, I shall die because of the stupid donkey. Groaned the porter to his wife. What do you say? Oh, I shall die because of that stupid donkey. He groaned. Groaned means shouted to the porter to his wife, said to his wife. He has only brought us trouble. He means that donkey only brought them to struggle. Yes. The next day, he went with his wife to capital. The next day, what happened? The next day, yes, the king. The next day, he went with his wife to the capital. So, taking his wife, he went to the kingdom. The king was pleased to see him and ordered the porters to lead the army into the battle next day. So the king was pleased. Pleased means happy to see him. Pleased means he was very happy to see him and ordered the porter to lead army into a battle next day. So he ordered the porter to lead the army into the battlefield. Battle means war field. The next day itself, he ordered it. Who ordered that? The king ordered to the porter. The enemy were not far from. The enemy were not far off. They are not far away. Were there from the gates of the city. They were in the gates of the city only. They are not far away. They are standing at the gates of the city. A splendid house, splendid means a very bright or shining house, had been prepared for the porter and his wife. So a splendid house had been prepared for a porter and his wife, given the nice house. The horse which would carry him into the battle was ready in the stable. The horse which would carry him into the battle was ready in the stable. It was ready in the stable. What was ready? That the horse was ready for the ready. The horse was ready ready in the stable. That he has to take it. The night the porter could not sleep. That night the porter could not sleep. Why he could not sleep? Because he didn't know how to catch the sword also. He didn't know how to ride the horse also. But he made as a general of army. He was nervous. He was very nervous and worried. Was worried because he did not know how to ride a horse also. So that only he was worried about that. If I fall off, he was asked the question, if I fall off, everybody will laugh at me. If he fall on that, everybody will laugh at him. He thought, who thought that? The porter thought, I will get up very early tomorrow and practice riding the horse. What he thought that he would get up early in the morning tomorrow, and he wanted to practice riding the horse. That he wanted to practice the riding the horse. Who thought that? The porter thought it. At dawn means when it is day breaking. Dawn, the porter woke up his wife. He went to his wife and woke up, and they went on the stable. They both went to the stable. They saw the beautiful black horse ready for its new master. What they saw they saw that a black horse, ready for its new master. Who was the new master here? Who was new master? The porter was the new master. Oh, how tall is? Sighed the porter. Somebody felt it. Oh, how tall this horse is. I shall never be able to climb onto his back. I shall never be able to climb onto his back. Who thought that? The tiger thought himself.